Sometimes a song can seem just so good, and it's like nothing could improve this song. Like, it is the best it will ever be. And then one day you're like, oh, I'm gonna listen to a different version of this. Maybe instead of just the studio album version I'm used to, I'm gonna listen to maybe an alternative take or a live performance of it. And you find out that that performance is tenfold times better than the original. And a very, very common thing you see is these live performances and alternative takes. The reason they are so better is because they have a feature or a collab or their form of medley. So this video I'm talking about 5 really good collabs that turn the original songs into something so much better. So without further ado, here's 5 collabs and just a little pre-thing. I'm not going to mention any of the Glastonbury collabs because I felt that if I added one Glastonbury collab to this list, it would just end up being 5 Glastonbury collabs because there are so many and so many really good ones. So if you want a separate video on just Glastonbury ones, let me know and I can do that, I guess. But without further ado, this was a live performance done in about 2016, I think. If you don't know Cat Stevens, I'm surprised you don't know him. He's a very big singer, and his most famous song, probably, or one of his most famous, is Wild World, which is a classic, iconic song. And he did a rendition of that song live himself and Chris Cornell, which was amazing. Just Chris Cornell's voice and his, you wouldn't expect them to work so well together, but they really do. And also they just have this great chemistry. Like, you can tell that Chris straight up admires Cat because of how iconic he is, and how when Chris was growing up at the period he would have been growing up, he would have been someone he looked up to and loved, because just he was such a classic cultural icon at such time in the 70s and stuff, when Cornell was a child. Today we've got one of my favourite collabs of all time. It's a music video with Fredo from Fredo Disco and Disco Inc. and Chris Freeman from Hot Mulligan performing a medley. Just an acoustic, very stripped back, bare video filmed on the roof of a multi-storey outdoor car park, where they performed Derailed by Joyce Manor and Going Away to College by Blink-182. And not only is the song just really beautiful, it's a very pretty song, it's so good because to the culture that both these musicians are in, Blink-182 started that culture. So it's just an important song to the both of them. And then the subculture, which is the smaller part of that culture they're in, Joyce Manor are probably the biggest band in that subculture now, so it's just like the perfect blend of them taking their own sort of musical heritage and performing it, and it's so good. Like, their voices work so well together, it's beautiful. They're very contrasting voices, so you definitely, one sounds a bit more strained, but it sounds so good. Fredo's voice, so good. Chris, and especially if you listen to Hot Mulligan, you don't really hear Chris's voice all that much. You do hear him sometimes in backing, but getting his full voice now is beautiful. And the original 2 songs are very good in themselves, and because I love Fredo so much, it just made them 10 times better. This was a genuine moment in history when it happened in around, I think it was somewhere between 67 and 69, because it was on Bootleg 15, when Bob Dylan and Johnny Cash teamed up, which must have been just a wave, because that was Johnny Cash was the biggest musician at the time, and Bob Dylan was coming up and he would become the greatest of almost all time. I would consider him, and lots of people would, but then he was just rising and rising, which was crazy. And there are so many songs that these two did together, and I could have picked so many, but I think I'm going to pick the most significant one, and the one that really kicked them off together. It was Bob Dylan's song. Well, I don't think it was off Bob Dylan's first album, but that one did have a few traditional songs that he hadn't written, so he might not have written it, but I'm pretty sure he did. Girl from North County, which it's just the lyrics in that song tell such a sweet story in such a flowing way, and having these two just massive giant voices, and if you listen to Johnny Cash, he just knows there is no one who can project their voice better. And Bob Dylan, who he's always, everyone says he's not a good singer, but he genuinely is, and he works with the voice he has. He doesn't change anything. So The Girl from North Country by Johnny Cash and Bob Dylan is at 3. Now, this was a fucking moment in history. At this point, all singers involved had an established following, but not a massive following. They weren't mainstream, but they were probably as big as you will probably get while still remaining to be underground artists. Like, if they had another big push, they would become mainstream. And they're still sort of at that point, but they're definitely quite bigger compared to now. And this song is Whatever It Takes by Convolk, Ninetales, now known as Sewer Person, and Garden, produced by Jackie Boy, and Polearm, then known as Halbert. I think he still goes by Halbert in lo-fi communities, but not hip-hop. This song, it changed their careers. I think, genuinely, if this song had not come out, these three wouldn't be as big as they are. Maybe Convolk would be because he had the whole Lone Wolf, but I definitely, Ninetales and Garden wouldn't have shot up. And I know Ninetales did, but Ninetales was massive when he decided to quit music, and now he's back as like more of a passion project than a career, but he's still massive. So this song is just, and I can see these three getting much, much bigger. So, you know, in the future, this is going to become like a proper moment in history type song. Like, it is where they all propel themselves straight into stardom. I can see this song being, you know, those three's catalyst, basically. But not least, at Motown 25 in 1983, the Temptations and the Four Tops did like a Motown medley where they performed just some of the classic songs in that genre just to celebrate it. And like listening, it's so like it sounds so pleasing to listen to. It's such so comforting to listen. It's just sweet, and this musically, Motown is such a aesthetically pleasing sound, and this just demonstrated that to a full, especially with the Temptations. They have a very wide vocal range in the 4 or 5 in the Temptations, and the Four Tops, the 4 of those, just know how to use their voices as instruments, and this demonstrates that fully. Their medley at Motown 25 is wonderful. And again, they have this fun, bubbly chemistry between them, which makes it so much better. So all 5 of these songs will be linked below. Check them out. And if I forgot any, because there are so many, let me know what you think's a better collab or should have been in here. And also, let me know if you want a video on like some of the best Glastonbury collabs, because, you know, there's fucking like 4 every year, and they do really good ones, you know, like The Killers and Johnny Marr this year. You had E Street Band and fucking someone, who was it last? I can't remember, it was years ago, but that was a really good one with E Street Band. You had the Pet Shop Boys, so many good ones at Glastonbury. So just let me know if you want that.